Tonight, big news. The Trump train is pulling 50 cars of lunatics with daddy issues toward a constitutional cliff, and the president is deciding whether to jump out last minute. Aides say he has been calmer than his tweets suggest, showing greater understanding of his predicament and believing that he needs to keep fighting almost as a performance, as a show to the 70 million people who voted for him that he is still battling. Look, I get it. We're all suckers for a good story. I mean, who could forget when Rocky accused Apollo of cheating, then housed hamburgers while binge-watching Newsmax? Now, Susan, are the anonymous sources right? Is the president actually deeply aware of his situation and method acting as a democracy-threatening strongman?
I think it's hard for us to know for sure. I mean, one of the great things about President Trump has been in the past that we've known pretty much what he's been thinking. He's been pretty transparent, especially on Twitter. We've heard less from him since the election returns came in and he lost the election. One thing we should note is that whether or not he accepts election returns, of course, it's not up to him.
Yeah, I mean, even if he does refuse to concede, we got a graphics package ready. Tuning out election December 2020. The recount continues. Will America get a president for Christmas? And just to be safe, we went ahead and built this one. Tuning out election summer 2023. The White House barricade continues. The president orders the nation's last remaining pizza.
You know, I think this strategy is actually a winner. By continuing this fight, the president is really humanizing himself and showing he's just as absolutely terrified of his supporters as we are.
Sure.
If I may, based on the John Meacham news, I want to disclose that I have been writing Joe Biden's speeches. I've put the word folks at the beginning and end of every sentence, and I'm disappointed he only reads half of them. Stick to the script, Joey!
Now, unfortunately for the president, Trump lawyers are suffering embarrassing rebukes from judges over voter fraud claims, so it's growing less likely his presidency will be saved by Brett Kavanaugh slamming a shot of Tennessee honey before vomiting on his majority opinion, reading simply, "Trump won, you dicks." Now, here's a blast from the past, all the way from the funky 2000s. Remember the war in Afghanistan? Well, it is all grown up, and get this, it hasn't changed a bit. But fresh off several major Pentagon shakeups, the Trump administration wants to accelerate the withdrawal of U.S. troops from the Middle East before the end of his presidency in January. 3 people familiar with the move told Axios. Now, Susan, is it possible there's a disturbing, self-serving reason behind this move that we will soon find out about and be impotent to stop? I just don't want to be surprised.
Well, it is true that President Trump, from the time he first announced his candidacy 5 years ago, has promised to end wars, and especially the war in Afghanistan. And we think that one reason that Mark Esper, the defense secretary, may have been fired by President Trump, even though he only has like 70 days left in his term, is because he wants to accelerate the withdrawal of troops.
Look, I think it would be journalistically irresponsible to speculate on this, but I'm absolutely positive that in Trump's final days in office, he is intentionally creating a power vacuum in the Middle East for Vladimir Putin to fill to curry favor in his post-presidency desperate need for financial support. Susan, you want to get in on this theory?
I do not.
Whatever, more discrediting fun for me.
Listen, this withdrawal is completely inappropriate. The troops have been there 19 years. It's their home. Some were born there, and that's all they know.
I gotta say, the media isn't gonna want to thank Trump for this because our minds are so deeply entrenched in divided partisan politics. But I can rise above it and say, thank you, Donald Trump. America, and most importantly, the troops, appreciate this.
Oh my God.
Look, folks, here's the good news. There is actually no historical precedent for the U.S. causing the rise of one of the biggest terrorist organizations on Earth due to a reckless withdrawal from a war-torn region.
Yeah, you said doo-doo.
No, I said due to.
Whatever, it's still funny. Now, new daily coronavirus cases in the U.S. have jumped to a record high, and President Trump is celebrating the milestone with a little R&R. Trump's involvement in the day-to-day governing of the nation has nearly stopped according to his schedule. He has not attended an intelligence briefing in weeks, and the White House has done little of late to manage the pandemic. Susan, if COVID wants to get the attention of the president, should it maybe dress more risque and change its name to Ivanka?
Well, I'm not sure about that strategy. It does seem like a pretty serious problem as we head into winter. I got to agree with you there.
You know, people complain about Trump being uncooperative with the transition, but it is possible that he's actually trying to create a vacuum of leadership so powerful that it would somehow suck Joe Biden and his entire team from wherever they are right into the Oval Office.
Oh, I could see that happening. Now, after disappointing losses in the House and Senate, Democrats are struggling to figure out what dramatic ideological swing will put them in the exact same reassessment predicament next election. Luckily, there's no shortage of nuanced, complex advice.
Super Tuesday was a repudiation of the far left wing.
The further left these folks move, the more they will lose that valuable constituency.
Turning the administration more leftward. Last week's election was a clear repudiation of all of that.
Pushing them further right and further towards Trump.
Because if you're going to the right or you're going to go to the left, you're just going to have issues.
Susan, I like thinking about politics as a big, beautiful crowd that can only move right to left. But is there any chance, and I know it's a stretch, that voters are not crabs?
You know, the thing about Democrats held together for the past year because they hated Trump so much. They hated Trump more than they hated each other. So they stuck together and won this presidential election. But now that it's over, almost instantly, all those seams started to fray.
Stop.
What is it, Tori?
We need to keep politics simple. Binaries. Move left, move right. Anything more and you're just making things complicated. It's the same reason I refuse to sit on a chair with more than two legs. Ah!
You okay there?
Oh, yeah.